So amazing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to share my screen. Let's see how we get on with this, because this is sometimes a bit of a temperamental thing. So let's see if it works. All right. Cool. Can you see this? Give me a thumbs up if you can see like a presentation. Amazing. Woohoo. I can see you at the bottom, Amy, so make sure that you are yeah, give me a thumbs up, or if there's any issues, literally wave at me. Okay, cool. This is great. This is really great. So super excited to be diving into this. This is going to be about an hour long, probably just over an hour if you stay for the Q&A as well. And we're just going to lean in to a bit of mixed voice. So help you understand your mixed voice a bit better, basically. So first, I just want to introduce myself. Most of you know who I am. Most of you have worked with me, but if you haven't before, then my name is Gemma, and I am, vocal coach and a musical theatre career coach. I am obsessed with mixed voice. Mixed voice has had a huge impact on my voice, my singing, my career, and my entire singing journey, and I've watched it have such a huge effect on my clients' journeys as well. So a tiny little performance background. I have worked for well over a decade now, about 12-13 years I think we're approaching, and I have my sort of career highlights have been cruises. I've traveled the world singing all over the world, which is amazing. And I worked at Hong Kong Disneyland, which was an absolute dream for me. There are a couple of career highlights. And then I've been coaching for the last just under actually 3 years, about 2.5 years now, going all in. I've been teaching singing for probably about 8 years, but only gone massively like full in on the coaching, and now I coach all the time. I'm not actually auditioning at the moment, although I'm sure I'll go back at some point. I just can't. I can't possibly leave it forever. So that's just a little brief bit about me. But as a coach, I work with professional musical theatre performers, or those that are in training or about to embark on a professional career. Generally, I work mostly with musical theatre performers that either want to work in the West End, touring, in musicals, or on cruises, vocalists, singers, lead performers. So that's a little bit about me. And then I want to dive into why as well. So before we go into like some exercises, before I tell you about mixed voice and what it is, I want you to understand why it's so good, why you should master your mixed voice, why it's great that you're here right now in this masterclass learning about your mixed voice and what you'll take away from it, really. So it's great technique. We're always after having good vocal technique. Good vocal technique generally means that you're safeguarding yourself. You're going to have less vocal injury, less vocal fatigue, things like that will still, potentially happen, but it doesn't mean, it just safeguards you a little bit more. Great technique means that you're going to be able to do things that you want to be able to do vocally without, damaging, tiring yourself out. And it sounds good at the end of the day as well. That's obviously what we want. It's important. It's good for your vocal health. Again, another thing I get asked a lot about vocal health, how do you look after your voice? What's best for your voice? Everything, along those lines. Mixed voice is great for your voice. It's, it's good for your vocal health. You're looking after your voice by doing it. And it enables you to have full control over your voice, which is what you want at the end of the day. If you get given a song for an audition, or if you're given material for a show, it's very rare that you can change the key of the song in a show. If it's a long running musical, or if it's a show that's established on a cruise, they're not going to change the key for you, which can, that can be a difficult thing if it doesn't suit your voice. But this enables you, mixed voice enables you to have control over your entire voice. So opens up a whole world of opportunities and things with that. Blend your vocal registers as well. So you're just going to have smoother transitions. So you won't have that really obvious. If you did a slide from, you know, your chest voice or your lower register up to your higher register, you're not going to have that obvious change in between where you go, like that little like, oh yeah, we've changed over into a different vocal register. And that's what I mean by it smooths your transitions, that transition from chest voice to head voice, and passagios, which are those areas. You're going to be able to belt safely as well. I know belting something that it's a term. I have a mixed relationship with the word belting. I think it's got such negative connotations in the past, and everyone's like, well, what really is it? Like, is it just shouting? Is it powerful singing? What is it? Well, if you can mix, you can belt safely. Belting is mixing, it's just a strong mix sound. So yeah, that's why I put safely in quotation marks there, because that's an old vocal myth there that belting's bad for your voice. It's not, if you're doing it right. And you're going to have no more worrying as well about, you know, can I sing that? Will it hit the note? So that kind of links back into what I said about having full control over your voice. You're going to be able to sing anything you get given. You don't have to question, oh, am I going to be able to sing this? Am I going to hit that note? Like, you know you're going to be able to, and you learn to navigate it. Takes your voice and your career then to the next level. If you're opening up possibilities of what your voice can do, the only way it's going to take you is up. Next level voice, next level career. Because as well, once you've, as I'm sure a lot of you will be able to relate to, when you're singing, if you find something that sounds really great, it boosts your confidence, right? Never do you sing and go, oh, that sounded really good. I'm not very confident with that. I'm not gonna sing that song anymore. So when you feel more confident, it opens up a whole nother can of worms, really. Like, it's a great level upper. So yeah, voice, confidence, career, everything just gets better and better. I know it did for me, and I've watched it do the same for a lot of clients as well. And it's a must in contemporary music. So your contemporary musical theatre, pop, rock, country, R&B, all of those styles that you hear a lot in the West End, in theatre, in, you know, on Broadway, or even singers, pop singers, country singers that you hear are using their mixed voice to sing. So what is it? Let's have a look. So I've tried to make this bullet point list really condensed, so we're not going too crazy. They're all things, hopefully tangible things that make sense to you. So mixed voice is a mix, exactly what it says on the tin, of head voice or falsetto and chest voice. So if you use those terms, or if you use M1, M2, it's basically a blend of your CT and your TA muscles. Everything between your head voice, your falsetto, and your chest voice, so anything that goes in between, and any blend of the two. It's basically a mixture of strength, which is your TA, your thyroarytenoid muscle, and a mixture input then also from your CT, which is your cricothyroid muscle as well. So those two, strength muscle and flexibility muscle, it's those two working together, which gives you a seamless transition. Gives you that one voice. Again, I've put that in quotations because some people will refer to it as, you know, well, you don't have registers, you have one voice. It depends on how it feels for you. It depends on your beliefs. It depends on your training as to whether you'll, you know, believe the term one voice, or whether for you there's infinite registers, more specific number of registers. It's all based kind of on your training and your beliefs, really. Which leads me on to say it does give you an infinite world of possibilities. If you can mix any level of the strength and the flexibility together, well, then you can achieve any sound you want, any level of, strength, any level of flex at any point in your voice. Because as we've said, it's a blend of the two, higher and lower registers, your strength and your flexibility muscles and everything in between. So it gives you an infinite amount of possibilities and opportunities with your voice. And as I kind of mentioned before, it's used in so many different contemporary styles. So when you listen to pop, when you listen to rock, country, musical theatre, you will be listening to mixed voice, unless they're sitting very high consistently or very low consistently. They will be going through their mixed voice and using mixed voice a lot. And a couple of singer examples here. I will give you a couple more as well in a bit. But Ben Platt's a great example. Renee Rapp, Alice Fern, Jordan Luke Gage, Stevie Wonder, and Celine Dion. So I've specifically chosen some really big pop singers that use it and are definitely known for using it. I've got a couple of West End and a couple of Broadway singers, actors on there as well. So identify mixed voice, as I said. I've mentioned a couple of people. Here's a few more. So Renee Rapp, just to dive into who these people are, just in case you're like, I've never heard of this person. So Renee Rapp is a Broadway performer. She stepped into the role of Regina George in Mean Girls after Taylor Louderman originated it. And she has an incredible, absolutely incredible voice. She's also got her own album now as well, so definitely check out Renee if you haven't heard her sing. She is she's got a very strong belty mix sound. Ben Platt, again, another originally musical theatre performer. He too has made his own album, or a couple of albums, and most of you will probably have heard of him as the original Dear Evan Hansen, from the workshop process through to when it came onto Broadway. He was part of that role, helped to create that role. He is more on the lighter mix side, which is interesting. So have a listen to him, because he is going to be a very different sound to what Renee is. And obviously, coming from a female and a male voice perspective, that's gonna have a little bit of a difference. And then I wanted to put Samantha Barks on here as well, because she's just phenomenal. I've never heard her sing a bad note, and she is she's a master of her voice. Absolute master of her voice. So I wanted to include her on here as well. And then that's sort of the musical theatre side, although they have all gone on to sort of do albums and concerts and things like that. And then this is the pop side over on the other side. So Celine Dion, she uses her nasal resonance is like flying through there to help her with all those mix sounds and those top notes that just fly out. Bruno Mars is another really good example as well. Really great examples. To have a little listen to him. And more recently as well, Sam Ryder. Sam Ryder was the UK's Eurovision entry last year, the runner-up of Eurovision, and his mixed voice is explosive. So definitely have a little listen to some of those singers, and you'll be able to start identifying it, because I think it's really useful to hear it in other people's voices and start to recognize it when you're listening to things, because then okay, well, that's the sound that I'm trying to create. So let's dive in to a few exercises. Have we got any questions or anything come up yet that I need to? I'm just going to jump back and see if anything's cool. Great. Let's just jump back. Can you see the presentation thing still? Okay, great. So let's dive in. First thing we're going to do, we want to just establish and recognize our registers before you can blend them. So I literally want you to say, this is in your chest voice, which most people speak in their chest voice. There's a very small number of people that speak in their head voice or their falsetto, but most people speak in chest voice. So I just want you to say, in a nice, strong, chesty sound, this is my chest voice. And it's a nice, strong chest voice sound. So just say those words. This is my chest voice. So you can find and feel exactly what's happening with that. Then I want you to do the same thing in your head voice or in your falsetto, which is kind of exactly what I just did. This is my head voice, or this is falsetto. Don't know why I had to say that in American, but I did. So just make sure that you're saying both of these and really feeling it. This is my chest voice. This is my head voice. So that you can feel the clear differences between the two, because that's what you want to do. You can't go blending things if you don't have, you know, the one extreme and the other. So you want to make sure that you've established both of those things first. So that's step one. That bit was nice and easy. Now let's move on to step two. So you've got your, you know, your obvious registers. Now we want to slide through and see if you can clearly hear your registers, or whether you have quite a blended voice already. So we're going to start at the bottom and we're going to go up, and then we're going to go from the top back down to the bottom, so that you can hear and feel if it's like, oh, actually, when I go up through my range, that's where we start to get a bit clunky. And then when we come back down, oh, actually, it's better on the way down, or vice versa, so that you can establish where your issues may be, or where your areas you need to work on are. So we're going to slide up. This is nice and open on an R to start with, literally from your lowest note up to your highest note. Let's give it a go. And you might find that you have more than one place that feels like it's kind of moving through a transition. That's completely normal. You might find that actually it blends really well. And let's do the reverse as well. So from the top back down to the bottom. Yeah. Also such an incredible way to warm your voice up and get your voice moving. A good old siren. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to let you guys do that without me doing it, so you can just hear your own. I want you to go from the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. Go for it. Incredible. All right, now let's intentionally flip. So we're going to yodel between your two registers. You can do this on an R, you can do this on an oo. Let's try both so that you can see what you what you think of each. But let's go from here. We're going to jump up an octave just on this. So let's try it on an R first. So we're going to do R. That's me intentionally flipping. Give it a go. And this should work for male and female voice. These notes should be fine. Let's do the same thing, but on an oo. In fact, let's go here. So oo. And you're flipping between chest voice, head voice. Yeah. I know when you are flipping, it can feel incredibly clunky. And if you've been working on mixed voice and blending, your registers together, to go and do an exercise like this sometimes feels a bit like, because you've ironed it out of you. But it's a really great way, again, to be like, right, okay, yeah, obvious register changes here. So let's move on to, well, let's move away from the obvious register changes and let's see if we can feel and find a mix, a blend of the two. So we're going to do nu, ne, and na. You may already be looking at those going, I don't like this sound, or oh, I love this vowel sound, or, you know, so let's do a bit of each so that you can feel and vote as well for which you like the best. So let's start. Where shall we start? Let's start a little bit lower. Let's start here. All we're going to do is nu. We're doing nu, 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 na, 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 na. I would suggest female voice going here, male voice starting around here, so an octave lower. You may be all right starting there, it just might feel a bit like, whoa, holy hell, that's high to start with. Let's give it a go. So these are your start notes. Let's do it. Nu, 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 na, 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 na. Yeah, keep going. Yeah, we're going to keep climbing. Yeah. Obviously, if these get too high, drop out whenever you need to. Let's do two more. Last one. Yeah, amazing. I'm going to come back to you because I want to hear whether the nu, the ne, or the na was your favourite. So share it with me. Nu, ne, na. What was everyone's preferred one? Pop it in the chat. Ne, says Lauren. Yeah. Nu, ne. Yeah, great, amazing. Everyone's like a total mixture, which is great. I always love this. Ne, nu, na, na. I think na, na, yeah, na, na, na. Oh, okay, so we've got quite a few nas. Love that. So the more open sounds. Great. Okay, cool. Love it. Yeah, loads of nas. Wowee. Okay, great. I want you to hang on to that because that for you is obviously like, okay, well, this is the setup that I find the easiest to keep that connected sound, which is really useful to remember, really useful. So let's dive back. Let's move on to our next exercise. All right. Oh, we're frozen. My screen has frozen. Oh, there we go. It's moving along. Can you see this? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I pressed it again. Yeah. I can only see your headshot, Amy, which isn't particularly helpful to me. If you can see this, can you just unmute yourself and be like, yeah, we can see it, because I can't see everyone.
Yeah, we can see
I can see it.
Great, perfect. Okay, let's do next one. So this is your chest mix versus head mix. So as I said at the beginning, you've got a variety of different blends with your mixed voice. You've got so many different options. So you can say, right, I want this to be a chest mix sound, and this is what you know to be belting in musical theatre. So when on your Spotlight CV or on a breakdown, you know, casting, an audition, and it says you need to belt to an E or you need to belt to this, that is the sound that they want. They want a strong, connected sound. So that's your chest mix. Head mix is more of the head voice qualities. You've still got the connection of mixed voice, but you've got head voice qualities in there. So we're going to do each of these. I've chosen 2 different exercises, so you can choose the vowel sound that you found the best. So if you liked an oo best, go for boo and woo. If you liked the eh, then go for be and where. If you liked the ah, which a lot of you did, go for the ba and the wah. If you want to experiment with all of them, then absolutely experiment with all of them and see what works for you. But the B is a plosive, so that B is going to give you a powerful sound. This is your chest mix exercise, or checks, as I just like to call it then. And then your head mix sound is the one with the W, the woo, the where, the wah, because it gives you breath and voice, you know, flowing together. So we're going to do exactly the same scale. So there's 0 brain effort on the scale. You're just keeping the same pattern. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to do boo, 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 woo, 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 woo. So your chest mix and your head mix. Really use the B and then let the W do its job as well. So use each of those consonants because they're there to help you. So choose whichever vowel combination you want. Let's do it. Here we go. Ba, 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 wah, 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 wah. Keep going. Yeah, as I said, you can experiment, change vowels if you want, or keep it the same. Two more if you are still going. Oh, I've started doing 3. Sorry, we're just doing 2. I don't know what happened in my brain there. I think it's because I saw 3 different ones. Great. So I'm going to jump back to you and just see what this was like. And then I want to experiment with this exercise a little bit. So I'm going to just stop my screen share there. Okay, great. What did everyone think of that? How was the W and how was the B? What was everyone's preference, the B or the W? What did you find easier? Lauren says I'm stronger on the B at the moment. Yeah, and B is always going to be slightly more connected. Liv says B. What's everyone else thinking? Yeah, Evie says I prefer the B. Amy Rose B. Alicia says stronger on the W. Yeah, I prefer B. Oh, there's a lot of them. I'm going to hazard a guess and say where a lot of you have preferred the B and the R. I'm going to say that there's quite a few beltier or stronger singers in this Zoom room, which is cool, really cool. Now, and there is no like right or wrong. B felt more belty, but prefer the W. Interesting, yeah. Cool, Lottie, love that. Felia says at the beginning, both were strong. The more we went up the scale, the W had a smoother onset. Yeah, interesting. Really cool. Yeah, as vowels, both were the same, I guess. Interesting. No, I love this. I love all of this discovery. The third of them. Yeah, like all of them. Yeah. Great. That's really interesting. Okay, so let's now, I want you to take the consonant that you liked the most, so the B or the W, and we're going to do oo, E, and R on that. So if you chose B, boo, 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 B, ba, 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 ba. Sorry, F, not E, which I realised as I started singing it. So I love that. That's really interesting. Yeah, Ophelia, that's absolutely right. Oo does tend to lean towards a headier place. So just to clarify, with like vowel sounds with the consonants, because I kind of said with the consonants there, but I want to make sure that you know with the vowels as well. R being more open, you're always going to get more sound when you do an R. If you just sing R, it's an open sound. Sound can just come out. With an slightly more neutral, and then the oo is always going to be lighter because it's narrower. So the bigger your mouth position, the more space you've got, generally the bigger the sound, which is why R is going to be a beltier sound. It's quite hard when you're, getting higher in these notes to have as much control or have as much control over the volume of the R, whereas with an oo, you might find this is getting harder to project or have volume to it, because ooh, there's only so much that can come out of that small space, and then is kind of that happy medium in the middle. But again, I think it depends completely on your setup. So the size of your mouth, the size of your tongue, the shape of your resonance, which is everything above the vocal folds. So let's do what I just said, which I've forgotten now what I said. So your favourite consonant with each of the vowels. So oo, R. We're going to go through. We're just going to do a couple of these and see how we go. I'm going to keep the same pattern for now, and then I want to change it and give you a harder pattern in a minute. So we or be, or whichever one you're going for, B or a W, oo, R. Let's give it a go. Be, 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 ba, ba, boo, 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 boo. Clearly my brain can't work when it doesn't have the words on the screen. Let's keep going. You go for it. Yeah. Yeah, so start with your strongest. That's probably going to set you up the best. Yeah, just going to do a couple more. Last one. Yeah. It's really interesting when you put them together, because then you're like, oh, this one's difficult. Or how can I make this, how can I get this strength out of all of the sounds? Because obviously the words that you sing are going to have a huge effect. And that's why, you've probably found this at some point. But a lot of singers will say to me, like, oh, well, how can I can do that in exercise. It's like, why can't I do it in a song? Well, it's because in a song you have a whole, mountain of different consonants and vowels and combinations to have to deal with. So you're not just dealing with the notes and singing them, on a sound that feels good to you or is finding the right place. Whereas very often with scales and exercises, you're given a specific combination, or you've chosen a specific combination of vowel and consonant or different combos to help you achieve what you're trying to achieve, rather than working against yourself. So Yeah, that's why. Let's do a little bit of a bigger jump this time around, because this time you're going to have to deal with not just what the interval that I chose there is quite a narrow interval. It's only a fifth. So you're generally not having to deal with a real big change of register. Excuse me. So let's make it more challenging and do, let's go to an octave. Let's not go crazy. Yeah, we're going to do a couple at the top. So we're just going to like really hammer in those top notes, because that generally is where more of the issue is going to be. So choose the one that you feel most happy with the B, with the W, with the U, E, R. I am going to do a where for now. So we're going to do where. So you've got 4. You sustain the 4th one. Let's just do another little practice and then we'll go for real. Ready? Here we go. Yeah? Cool. Let's go. Great. Let's do 2 more just for fun. Last one. Yeah, cool. I'm not going to come back down. I'm going to leave that there. I would normally, if you're working with me, I would always come down, because songs obviously go up and down, but just for the sake of trying out these exercises and things, I'm going to leave that there. How was that, dealing with a bigger interval? All good? All okay? Yeah. It just gives you that, like, it's less of a focus and more of a, I'm having to, that's sort of another level of, okay, well, I can deliver the right sound, but now I'm having to deliver it over a vaster interval, which in songs you need to do. So that's not just dealing with like a really specific area of your voice and moving up, it's dealing with a bigger area of your voice. What did you say there, Amy? It was harder not to flip and try and stay in a mixy place. Yeah, does anyone else feel that they were having to deal with, like, whoa, I need to stay connected and not completely disconnect? Yeah, Gigi says agree. Yes, same here. Yeah, amazing. Ophelia says the worked best. Great. Yeah. So what you want to do, I always use my hands as vocal folds, but you want your vocal folds to stay connected. As soon as you go disconnected, that's when you get that, the breathy, head voicey sound, because more air can pass through. So you want to keep that connection. Where you're in chest voice, you're here. You want to thin those vocal folds out. You don't want them to disconnect. And that is when you're having to deal with that, you're dealing with thinning and staying connected and, getting your pitch on point and the right shapes. And yeah, there's 101 different things to be thinking of. Yeah, brilliant. I am going to jump back to presentation because I can't remember what's next. I will discover a better way of doing it, but for some reason it won't let me do it without doing it this way. Cool. Okay. Oh, can you see the presentation again? Amazing. Great. So as I've said here, yeah, mastering your mix is a full-on process. I'm going to be completely honest. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that you literally wake up or you do one exercise and you're like, oh yeah, done. I never have to do this again. It's an ongoing process, and it's something that takes time. But these exercises, this bit of exploration is the tip of the iceberg. There's no way I could possibly in 1 hour get you to, master it in that time, but you can start to find what you're doing. You can start to understand it. You can start to feel it, which is the start of mastering it. So yeah, there's so much potential with your mixed voice. And as I've said, to be a true master, it takes patience, practice, and persistence. And it's specific practice. You know, you can keep singing the same things or singing different things, and sometimes you're not working on the right thing or the right thing for your voice or the right part of your voice, or you're not giving yourself the right tools to keep leveling up. You know, you could be doing the same exercises and actually you're not continuing to grow. But you know, it does take a while. And I talk about the three P's is something that I like to talk about: patience, practice, and persistence. You know, it takes time, so you have to be patient with it. You've got to keep going with it. Persistence and specific practice is the key to mastering it faster. Anyone can put in time and keep trying, but if you don't know what you're specifically doing for your voice to get your voice where it needs to be, then that can take you 1,000 hours more than you need to spend on it. But it is worth every single second of the work. It is a game changer. And I truly, honestly believe that. It's my obsession from a vocal perspective. This is the best thing you can do for your voice, 100%. So what's the next step? If after this session you're like, oh my goodness, like we need to do more of this, how do we level up? So mastering mixed voice is your next step to that. That is the program that I've got starting next week. You will, at the end of it, it's an 8-week program. At the end, you'll be able to say, yes, I feel more confident in my auditions and on stage with the songs that you give me, the songs that I choose for myself. I can sing them all. I know how to sing without obvious breaks. I've like mastered that blend, a much better blend of sound. And you'll be able to belt, as the musical theatre world wants you to, 8 shows a week. And it feels effortless. So great example of this is, you know, Jessica Vosk, Alice Fern. Like, did they struggle to sing Alphabet 8 shows a week? Like, no, they nailed it. And they were like back every single week for years. You know, Alice Fern did the show for years, you know, effortlessly and so impressively as well. So if you want to be able to do the same, something she said before, I will never forget her saying to me was, my voice never lets me down. Like, if there's anything that I know is going to be on point, it's my voice every time. And once you've mastered all those things, you're going to be the one that books the job. You're going to be the lead roles. You're going to book the jobs that you say, like, oh, I really want to do this job. Like, or obviously you're going to book the job because you're capable. You're capable, you're confident, it makes you unstoppable. It really honestly does. So let's jump back. Let's come to the Q&A. I want to answer any questions you've got. So fire away with your questions. Pop them in the chat if you want to, or unless if you have a question, maybe just pop in the chat like question or something, and you can always unmute yourself if it's too much to type. It's completely up to you. Oh, Alicia, what have you said? I've been trying to, okay, great. I've been trying to master the mixed voices for ages and find it's just so weak and breathy. Okay, do you find it's more of like a head mix sound, or do you think it's a vocal, do you know if it's like a vocal fold connecting thing? Interesting. Okay, so I would say you found like the W better, right? The W and the U. Yeah. So I think in that case, yeah, head mix is stronger. Okay, Great. So I would say in that case, you need to, or what you want to do is apply what you've got going on that's great at the top end, in the headier, mixier places. You want to try and get that to filter down to more of a chesty, stronger, beltier, mixy sound. You've got different options with that. I always think the most effective way is from the vocal folder level, without a shadow of a doubt, because then you're going to the source of the sound rather than kind of, you know, adding icing and sprinkles on top of something that is actually just a shit cake. So I think, like, get your sponge right. So with that, I would say definitely, if you're having issues with like breathiness, go straight to the vocal fold level and do some glottals. Glottals, like you know, a small amount of them and not too loud, so that you're training your vocal folds to connect in a way that brings the sound and the breath through together, so you're not getting a breathy sound. So little things like an ooh, 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 or an ah, 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 ah. Glottals are absolutely fine as long as you're not like blasting them out. That's what I would go to work on if you're having like a issue with breathy, mixy qualities. Right, yeah, you had COVID and your voice has been struggling because of it. Yeah, I had the exact same issue. My mix has never ever let me down, and I never lose my voice. And then as soon as I got COVID, every time I got COVID, I had it 3 times. The thing that struggled was that middle area of my voice. So yeah, I think work on those little glottally moments. You can definitely, I think you definitely benefit from using maybe some more B's, D's, G's, the plosives that give you a stronger sound. Even if you combine them with the oo, like the narrower vowels for now, so that you don't have like, otherwise it's going a bit all in, all a bit crazy with a big mouth shape, more open mouth shape, and a powerful consonant. That would be my suggestion as where to start, and being incredibly patient with it. And straws, definitely, like straw exercises, SOVT exercises, because they make your vocal folds work efficiently. Which, if you know, your COVID might have just knocked them out of working the way they should. So yeah, that will just train them back to how they should be. Amazing. Okay, let's have a look. Who's next? Lauren says, what are some examples of good female mixed voices songs to try? Oh, okay. So anything in the contemporary musical theatre world. Ariana Grande is a mixed goddess, so it's her songs. Demi Lovato songs, I mean, they're rangy, really rangy, so they work on your entire voice. But I would also say, if you want to work on more of like a light mix sound, Disney princesses are a great, or princes are a great area to look. If you want belty stuff, then I would go down the more musical theatre, powerhouse vocalists type of choices. Rock songs, I think, are a good place to explore as well. Definitely. So have a look at some of those, Lauren. Ophelia, I'm just going to read through I've been working on mixed voice for a while. Transition is super smooth. W used to work more on head mixed voice register. Yep. The N is good to access the mix as a smooth transition between chest and head. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So an N, excuse me, was a little bit more of a balanced 50-50 mix, straight down the middle, gets you access in a mix. Nice smooth transition, absolutely. B is definitely your chest mix. So B, D, G, they're going to be helpful when you're wanting to make a more belty sound, because they are strong plosive consonants. So what that means is the voice and the breath comes at the same time. You can't say a B without opening it out into a vowel. But as soon as you do, the breath and the voice come together, which is why it's always going to be on the chestier side. Yeah. And then the W. H again is a great one, because that's breath. That breathy sound, that's going to head you more towards a heady mixed voice as well. Yeah, so you're absolutely nailed everything, bang on there, Ophelia. Yeah, you said I don't have a question, but I ended with one. No, but that's fine. You were just clarifying that you got it right, which is good. I love that. I want to make sure that you fully understand. So yeah, you're perfect. You got it bang on, nailed it. Liv says, my question is, my mix, like higher in my range, just sounds weak and shaky. Any way to help this? This is where those exercises where you're sustaining at the top, whatever it is, those little, the reason why you do those little dink, dink, dinks is it's building up. It's a little bit like building up the muscle up there. So if you do da, 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 and you come down, you're starting to build it up. If you sustain it a bit on the end, you're starting to build that muscle up even more. It's a little bit like I'm saying it's like I go to the gym. I don't. But if you're like lifting weights, going up and down, look, quite quickly is easier, isn't it? Same as if you are doing a squat or something, say you're doing a squat and you've got weights in your hand, to go down and up is like a moment. And that's literally what your voice is doing. It's being put in that moment of like, oh, I'm working, and then it comes out of it again. When you sustain that note, it's a little bit like holding that squat or holding the bar up. It's building your muscle to maintain that weight, because that's basically what you're doing. You're asking your voice to stay connected and lighten, but not go. As soon as you do that disconnect, that's where the muscle just kind of gives way. So I would say work on those type of things that ding, 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 ding. Or if you're singing a song and you find that you're struggling to sustain a note, instead of singing the note, hit it staccato a few times instead, or sustain it for a shorter amount of time. It's much better for your voice in its training to go, okay, it needs to come off now because otherwise I'm going to die, rather than going, falling away. Yeah, so I think just self-awareness and those little staccato build it up things. And I think more than anything, it's patience, because I know you, Liv, I know you really well, I know your voice really well, and I know this is probably really frustrating for you because you've always just been able to do everything, but it will come back to you. It's just that repetition. For you, it's going to be that persistence, just persisting with it. Lottie says, in an audition setting, or when my nerves are high, my mix is the first thing to go out the window. Yep. It feels strong when practicing, but then the full chest or legit head takes over in the room. How do I control this? In all honesty, I think if you're being able to do it in a practice setting, then the issue isn't your mixed voice. The issue is the nerves in an audition. So, and you're doing the right thing, Lottie, because you're signed up to the casting director series, aren't you? So I think it's doing things like that, getting yourself, either go into auditions that you're not, like, it doesn't really matter too much what the outcome is. You're going for the practice of the audition, or getting into workshops and things that are in a similar audition type setting, so that you can start to bring what you practice into a room and get those nerves kind of under wraps more, because there's nothing worse than being able to do something at home and then as soon as you step in front of an audition panel you can't do it, and you obviously need to be able to. So I think continue to keep building it at home, definitely, but then see what scenarios you can put yourself in that make you feel uncomfortable, that are going to allow you to practice that more. Even if it doesn't have to be a finished product, it can be like, oh, okay, well, I went into that audition for something that I didn't want the job for. I just went to do the audition as practice. And then I've worked, I've done that and mastered this a bit. Because that to me doesn't sound like a control of your mix thing. It sounds like you need to control your nerves. You need to get control of nerves more so. Is that kind of helpful, kind of not? I think just getting more audition rooms or audition settings and do something mixy, so it kind of throws you into having to do it. And you normalize it. As soon as you normalize something, it becomes far less nerve-wracking. So yeah, great. Okay, Alexandra says, how to stop putting so much of my chest voice for mix. I struggled with that for years. Okay, so your chest voice is really strong, right? So you're dragging your chest voice up. In that case, I would say play around more with the headier sounds. So the head voice type sounds, the head voice type of consonants, vowels that are going to lean you more the other way. Because, I'm just going to let Lottie back in. Because you obviously want to be able to, where's your question gone? I want it back up in front of me so I can go back. Yeah. So what you want to do is lean into the lighter options. Use your W's, your H's. If you find that naturally your mix is strong, your chest voice is really strong, then see if you can use the lighter sounds, lighter consonants, lighter vowels, especially when you're going from like chest up into like higher. And then I'd go back down as well. See if you can take some of your like headier mix down into your chest voice area. Yeah, that would be my advice to you, Alexandra. So things like who and where, an F, even v, a V, those types of sounds. Yeah. Amazing. Cool. No, Lauren, that's fine. You shoot off, and good luck tomorrow for your recall as well. Hope it goes well. Drop me a message as well to let me know how you get on.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions or anything before we close out? Any other thoughts or anything? Amy, you got a question? Go for it.
Well, it kind of confuses me in a way because I think I use it quite a lot without knowing that I'm using it, if that makes sense. So like when someone sort of says to me like, oh, put a bit more like chest or like whatever, or like use like mix or something, sometimes I don't really know that I've like used it, and I'm thinking, but what did I do? Like, and sort of as you were talking as well, it was kind of making me think, oh, do I use more of like a head dominant mix, or like do, because there's like certain songs that like, so for example, like things from like Wicked, like alphabet stuff, I do find that quite challenging, only because I think it requires more chest, and that's not like my strongest point. So I don't know whether for me, because like things like World Burn and stuff, I don't find it as hard to like chant to like sort of navigate it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether there's anything that you would suggest for like just working the chest a little bit more, just to kind of like make that a little bit more stronger, so it is more balanced when it becomes like more dominant, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So this is where I think like people generally kind of fall into I'm a mixer or I'm a belter. So if your voice is really strong, like around here, these like powerful belty like C D kind of area notes, or if you're like, oh, an F is like a breeze for me, like an F will just fly out, that is just purely on what you've worked most. So once you get past like an E flat, an E, the muscle, the thyroarytenoid muscle, that chesty muscle starts to like, it just cannot hang in there anymore. So then it becomes more of a resonance thing. So it might just be that actually your resonance setup is great to give you the perfect sound, but what you need to do is build up the muscle so that lower down, the muscle's coming in and taking over where it needs to. So I think definitely play around with exercises that start in your chest voice, go into, you know, a lower mixy area, and play in that area with the B's, the G's, the, you know, the more powerful sounds, work those up.
Okay. Would you like suggest any like songs to practice for like lower sort of like just that will?
I mean, anything that doesn't go much higher than a D, I would say, like any of those type of songs. So yeah, I
put you on the spot, I like think.
Off the top of my head, like things like Burn from Hamilton, like I Dreamed a Dream, potentially, like those sort of, just picking two very, very popular common songs that you will know of, are going to be quite useful. Anything that's considered an alto song would probably be a good thing to practice as well, because you can experiment with that sounding powerful and being powerful. So
I was thinking like maybe This Time or something like that.
Those I feel like, what's his face, Frank Wildhorn writes for the belters. So yeah, anything along those lines,
from like Jekyll and Hyde or something.
Yeah, cool. Evie says, how to stop flipping to head voice when you get higher in a mix. So this is just this is training and practice, Evie. So when you get to a point where you're like, where you want to go over into head voice, this is where you want to hang on to that connection that builds up the connection of lightening it. I think speech is a really great way of experimenting with mix as well, and developing your mix. So using words. In fact, let's just do one more exercise now while I so we can, everyone give this a try. This is one that I absolutely love. We're going to use the words, this sucks. So what you need to do with this exercise is literally say the words and use the emotion. This is one of my favorite things, to be like, right, I need to get into my mix gear. Here we go. This is what I'll be like, great, let's do this. So all you're going to do is, this sucks. That's it. Say the words, use the emotion, get more fed up, get more annoyed as you get higher. We won't go too crazy high, but let's give it a go. This sucks. Keep going. This sucks. Really fed up. This sucks. One more. This sucks. So that narrowness of like this, and you're kind of using your words like it's definitely a bit piercing, but things like that are a great exercise. So I think focus more on speaking and emotion, Evie, than singing. I think it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm singing, so I need to sing these bits and it needs to sound nice. But actually, you need to get the sound, and then you can develop the sound. But if you can't get the right sound and you're only worried about sounding, nice, I am a huge advocate for like making mistakes, for making ugly sounds. Because when I was younger, a lot of the time I just wanted to sound nice. And if I didn't sound nice, or didn't sound good, I was like, oh gosh, even in an exercise, like doing vocal warm-ups, doing vocal exercises, I was really conscious of anybody outside the room. Like, oh God, but what if they think I'm a bad singer? Whereas now I will literally, sometimes with clients, I'll demo something and be like, that was shit, so make sure you sing it better. But it's an experimental process. You want to make sure that you are making whatever sound you need to find the right place, the right sound, and then you can duplicate that and you can make it sound nicer. There's things you can do with, resonance and tone that then, makes it sound more pleasing, maybe to the ear. But judge yourself less, sing less, and sing is very, very useful. Yeah. Cool. You're very welcome, Evie. Any final questions before we close up? I think that's everyone's questions answered. Amazing. I am going to send out the replay for this as well. So if you do want to watch it back, or you do want to do any of the exercises and things again, then you absolutely can. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. It's been really, really lovely. So yeah, very grateful you've given up your time to spend with me, and hopefully that's answered a few of your questions and helped you with a few things. Amazing. I will see you all very soon. I'll send you the replay later on or tomorrow. Thank you so much. See you later.